action for another day of the week. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Chasing That Paper, presented by VegasInsider.com, baby. We got a big show today. World Series, a little bit of action for you. Some Saturday dogs in college football, and of course, a little bit of NBA. So 2-2 yesterday, 3-2 if you include the 3-point prop I gave up for Zach LaVine. A very bad beat though on the over for the Miami Heat Warriors game. It looked like it was going to just cruise over easily, maybe approach the 240s, but the Warriors come out and score 15 points in the fourth quarter. So bad beat there, but we're looking for some good wins today. And hopefully to help me do that is my guy in this traditional Wednesday spot, the animal, the savage, Devin Walker. Let's bring him on in here. There he is. What's up, Devin?
I'm feeling good, Joe. I'm feeling good. It's a good day. It's sunny. It's fall. We're in November. I'm ready to win. I'm ready to win. Hope you're ready too.
Some lovely artwork behind you. Did you paint that, Devin?
I did not paint this. This is a color theory piece by Will Hanna.
I like that. I know my art. And I also know my baseball. This guy. Yeah, so
that's right.
We're going to go back and forth. We're going to start with the World Series. We're going to get into some action, some college football Saturday, then get right into the NBA. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube right now, do me a favor. Make sure you give us a like. Make sure you hit the sub button right down there. Okay, let's get right into the action. We're going to start things off with Game 4 of the World Series going down in Philadelphia, and I got us a good old-fashioned full-game money line pick. Give me the Astros to bounce back, coming in at -110. So check out the guy on the bump here for Houston, Christian Javier. He's been absolutely lights out. The Astros are 8-0. In his last 8 appearances, 1 or fewer earned runs in 7 of those 8, including 5 where he allowed absolutely nothing. In his last start at Yankee Stadium in the ALCS, he threw 5.1 innings. He allowed just 1 hit in that game. Meanwhile, take a look at Aaron Nola. 11 earned runs in his last 2 starts, just falling off of the cliff here. Important to keep in mind, this is the longest he's ever pitched into a season. Maybe he's getting worn down. Maybe he's not built for this. And check out the Astros bullpen in the playoffs, a 0.81 ERA. And no worries about the Astros offense after getting shut out yesterday. The previous 4 games have scored 21 runs, so look for them to get back on track tonight in Philadelphia. Next up, we got some action in action tonight. So, Devin, you're pairing a couple teams here into a bit of an action parlay. What do you got?
That is correct. Shout out to the MAC for giving us Tuesday and Wednesday football, the only days of the week that weren't previously covered. So it's a full 7-day slate for me, between Monday night football and Thursday night football. You fill in that gap there. We got a couple Friday night games. So shout out to the MAC for bridging the football gap here midweek. Now, if I know anything about the MAC, it is this. They are inconsistent. So 2 dogs win last night, 2 favorites tonight. I am taking Northern Illinois in Bowling Green in a 2-team money line parlay, and I'm risking it all on my man Lombardi because I do believe he will be under center. If the line is any indicator here, then my man with the great hair will be slinging tutties in an attempt to save Northern Illinois' season. Let's talk about Bowling Green a little bit here. Bowling Green is phenomenal at home. Okay, so those are my kind of non-analytical takes there. It's just like, hey, I look at this game, I like it. Let's get into the analytics a little bit. Both of these teams protect the rock pretty well. Both top 60 of turnover margin. Now, Western Michigan's quarterback, he's got problems. 5 interceptions thrown against Ohio. That is not going to ever get you a W. And moving back to Bowling Green, well, they're 25th in the country in tackles for loss. Going up against a squad that is 105th in tackles for loss allowed. That's not a recipe for success. Give me the home favorites here in a two-way money line parlay, baby.
Okay, let's get into the Saturday college football action, and you're being bold here. A couple money line dogs. So which dog is barking first for you on Saturday?
Now, this is another, I am betting on the quarterback situation, even though I'm not sure if he's playing. That would be the Syracuse game. So if you're going to give me Syracuse plus 145, I'm going to take it. Pitt does not look particularly impressive. This line doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Syracuse offense, 6.27 yards per play, averaging 32.6 points per game. And their defense, better than Pitt. Better in yards per play allowed and forced turnovers. Pitt -6 in turnover margin in October. If you can't take care of the ball, you cannot beat the Orange. You're going to give me plus value. I'm going to take it all the way to the bank. Give me Syracuse money line plus 145.
All right, Devin. Dogs don't stop. Who's barking next on Saturday? Hoof, hoof, hoof.
You know I was like this. Whoa, did we get it? Hold on. We got a dog. We got a dog noise now. It's not just a Ric Flair woo. We got a dog. We got a barking dog noise. Well, this one's as good as gold. We upped the budget, and we're about to up your budget because I'm taking the Baylor Bears. Okay, who better in a underdog situation than the Baylor Bears? I was so close to taking the double dog dare you parlay, but I reeled myself back in. I said there's nothing wrong with a plus money straight bet. So let's talk about Baylor. Baylor's offense performing better versus the Big 12, 35.2 points per game versus 27.5 points per game. Oklahoma defense, the team that's going to be attempting to stop that offense, is 83rd in the country in 5.69 yards per play. That is not going to get it done against this Baylor team. Now, 105th, all right, in opposition third down conversion versus a Baylor team that's 24th in third down conversion percentage. That is a massive gap. I'm expecting the Baylor Bears to exploit this abysmal Oklahoma defense. And if, again, you're going to give me plus money with a team that I think should be in a pick'em, I'm going to take it. For me, this is just a book era. I think that we are going to get a couple dogs, some victories here. I looked the slate a lot for dogs this week in college football. As we get into November, the teams that are solid are going to start to separate themselves. I believe Baylor to be a more well-rounded football team. So, F it. Give me the Baylor Bears plus 145. Let's go, baby.
Yes, sir. Okay, we're off to the NBA tonight, where dogs don't stop. Indeed. Give me the Charlotte Hornets plus 5.5 versus the Chicago Bulls. So let's get into this big defensive advantage for the Hornets. This one, that might surprise you to hear, but dig into the numbers here. Opponent EFG percentage 8th for Charlotte versus 29th for Chicago. Expect a big edge from three-point land for the Hornets in this one. Charlotte is the best team in the NBA at defending the three, ranking first in opponent three-point percentage. Bulls are 29th in that category. Charlotte is also shooting the three at the 7th best percentage in the NBA. In previous struggles in the second game of back-to-backs for the Bulls, some teams are good in this spot, some are bad. Small sample size, but a sample size must start somewhere, as the Bulls are 0-2 in the second game of back-to-backs this season. This includes a 32-point loss at home to Cleveland and a 5-point loss, once again, at home to Philly. They led them to shoot the three at 48.3% in that one. So give me the Hornets to at least keep this one close, maybe even win this game outright. Next up, weirdo prop of the night. I got a couple here for you, but how about Saddiq Bey? I'm going to take his 3-point total, but I'm going to take him to go under 2.5 threes versus the Bucks. This one coming in at minus 125, so the number's sitting there at 2.5 for Bey. He's only topped that in 2 of 8 games here this season. Take a look at his three-point shooting volume. It's way down from last season. He's averaging 2.1 fewer attempts from the lane beyond the arc. Also shooting it at a lower percentage. And great perimeter defense from the Bucks. This was a point of emphasis for them coming into the season after getting killed from three last season. They are tied for the third fewest threes allowed per game. Keep in mind, big spread in this game. Potential for a blowout where his minutes could get cut short. And next up, we're going to bring it home. We're going to wrap it up. And I have a request for you guys. How about a little bit of goddamn respect for Lauri Markkanen of the Utah Jazz? This guy's filling it up. I'm going to take him to go over 26.5 points plus rebounds, coming in at minus 115 versus the Dallas Mavericks. This is blue-collar basketball at its absolute best for Markkanen. Filling up the stat sheet here, he's averaging 31.9 points plus rebounds. He's topped this number of 26.5 in 6 of 8 games. A good opponent for him to fill it up against tonight. Easy ones on the inside and on the free throw line. The Mavs are 27th in opponent free throw attempt rate and 25th in points allowed in the paint. Markkanen leads the Utah Jazz in points in the paint and is second in free throw attempts. So give me Markkanen to go off here tonight and fill it up versus the Dallas Mavericks. There you have it. What's that? 7 total picks. Devin, who else out there in the sports betting content industry is giving out action parlays and props for Saddiq Bey and Lauri Markkanen? Absolutely no one.
If they're out there, we don't know about them. Make yourself known.
Yeah, make yourself known. Don't hide from us here.
Stop
chasing
hiding
that paper. Yeah, so there we have it. 7 total picks, guys. If you're looking for a place to place these bets or fade them, the choice quite simply is yours. I recommend placing your action over at BetMGM. Let me tell you a little bit about them. Kick off your day of sports betting with the king of sportsbooks. Sign up with BetMGM using bonus code VIBONUS. And your first wager is risk-free up to $1,000. That's VI bonus, all one word, no spaces. And your first wager is risk-free up to $1,000. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 or older. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks.
They really are. I believe that makes us the prince of sportsbooks.
I think so. I think that's fair. So lots of news here, Devin, in the sport. Randomly yesterday, like my phone was just lighting up with alerts of just random crazy. Yesterday was the best random sports day of the year here in 2022. Let's start things off with the Brooklyn Nets. This team did Steve Nash dirty. You know, I'm Canadian, as you know. I'm a Canadian basketball fan, and Steve Nash, one of the best Canadian athletes of all time. So I'm always going to have Nash's back. And this guy didn't stand a chance. What head coach, aside from maybe Phil Jackson in his prime, would stand a chance with the most dramatic team, the most pathetic, the biggest disgrace in the NBA, the Brooklyn Nets? So they sent Nash packing. Apparently, it was mutual. It was first reported that he was fired. Then it came out that it was mutual. And now I'm seeing that apparently they're going to bring... I thought it was a headline from The Onion. They're going to bring Ime Udoka and all of his baggage to that team with the most baggage in the NBA. Like, let's not sugarcoat it. Udoka was involved in some real scumbag behavior with the Boston Celtics. They pretty much sent him packing. You know, it's pretty bad if you bring a team to the NBA Finals and they end up suspending you for the full year. Now, I know, like, the full story hasn't really come out. People have a pretty good idea of what's happening. So, Devin, I know you're a Boston guy. I think you're a Brooklyn Nets hater like I am. So what do you make of this whole situation? You know, Kyrie once again in hot. Well, Kyrie, what's your obsession with wanting to be heard? Nobody gives a shit. Turn off your social media. So, Devin, what's your thoughts on what we're seeing here with the Nets?
This is the most Brooklyn Nets move I've seen in a long time. It's clear to me that Steve Nash was pushed out by two dramatic crybabies in Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. I want to paint a picture for you. Imagine you're at a theme park, right? You're having a hot dog Okay, you're wearing a 3, probably 3X, maybe 4XT. You get a mustard stain on your shirt, right? You're walking around, 5 o'clock shadow. You've had like 6, 7 beers. You're looking for a place to throw away said hot dog receptacle, and all there are giant full trash cans. What are you going to do? You're going to wait for an empty one? No, you're just going to cram more shit in the already full trash can. That is what we're doing here in Brooklyn. Convoluted metaphor, I know, but that is the addition of Ime Ndoku in this scenario. The trash can can't get any more full. Why not throw him on there? There's the baggage limit has been exceeded. So at this point, they're playing with house money. It's like, who else can we bring in here that could be a potential problem? Problem soup. Maybe it'll work out, right? We know 2 negatives make a positive. What do 3 negatives make? I think a negative, but it could be a positive. Again, I'm not a scientist. Bring Ime in, see if he can handle him. If he can't, nobody can.
Yeah, I mean, what's next? I see it's just been reported that Daniel Snyder apparently will be selling the Washington football team. Maybe Daniel Snyder can become part of the ownership team of the Brooklyn Nets, right? I think he'd be a pretty good addition.
Get Snyder in there.
Okay, moving on. So the NFL trade deadline, I think it's fair to say, probably the best NFL trade deadline of all time. It's usually quite a bit of a snoozer, right? But that wasn't the case yesterday, of course. As a fan of the Miami Dolphins, I'm absolutely flying high. Fuck them picks. The Dolphins aren't good at using those draft picks anyways, so they bring Chubb in, big-time defender, a couple pass catchers on the move here. Hawkinson goes to the Vikings in an interdivisional trade. You don't see too much of them. The Claypool one, that was a bit confusing. They must have told him, like, the Steelers brought it in. They said, hey, you're getting traded. He must have been like, yes! Where am I going? To a contender? No, you're going to the Chicago Bears. So that's a bit unusual, but what stood out to me most here, Devin, taking my fandom out of it, is that the Green Bay Packers did absolutely nothing to help out that offense. You know, there were some wide receivers available, and they did nothing. And why do they keep doing this? You know, they did an awful job replacing Devontae Adams coming into the season. You take a look at their injury report. There's always 2 or 3 wide receivers on there. We know what the problems are with this team, so that's probably what stood out most to me. What stood out most to you from the NFL trade deadline yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I agree that the Green Bay Packers' lack of a move is the biggest move of all. And it's clear to me that similar to how the Patriots treated Tom Brady at the tail end of his career, we're seeing another version of that in Green Bay. The only conclusion that I can come to here is they want to push Aaron Rodgers out the door. If you're not going to get this guy any help, you know he's a winner. You know he wants to compete. It seems to me like they are just trying anything they can to get him to break up. It's like when you're in a relationship and you just stop doing everything. Gym, crumple it up, throw it in the trash can. Healthy food, that's gone. Getting hammered every night, betting on sports, right? Just waiting for someone to make the move to end the relationship. Well, it looks like it's not going to be either one of them, and they're not bringing in any counseling here. No relationship counseling in the form of a wide receiver. So Brandon Cooks not going there was a little surprising to me. I know that they had their sights on him, so I was surprised by the lack of the move by the Packers as well, and this is not going to bode well for them down the stretch here of a very competitive NFL season.
Yeah, I've been saying for seasons now that the Packers are trying to run Aaron Rodgers out of town. I know, like, they had that ultimatum in the offseason, you know, he could have been traded if he wanted to, but he decided that he wanted to come back. You know, could you imagine? He should have gone to the Denver Broncos. That might have been a completely different situation, but time and time again, they just continue to screw this guy over, and I predicted it coming into the season that by the season ends, Aaron Rodgers is going to want out. He's officially going to want out. Maybe he'll go to the Indianapolis Colts. They like other teams' sloppy seconds at quarterbacks, don't they? So let's talk about the other big story of the day, Devin. You're a college football guy. I'm a bit of a casual when it comes to college football. Everyone knows that, so I'm going to get you to weigh in on the official college football playoff rankings were released last night. Of course, we have Tennessee at number 1. Ohio State comes in second. Georgia at 3. Clemson at 4. Michigan at 5. All of those teams 8-0. Then, of course, we have Alabama at 6. TCU at 7 at 8-0. A little controversial there. Saw some complaints about that. Then Oregon, USC, and LSU. So what stands out to you from the official rankings yesterday?
I mean, I understand people's frustration with TCU being there in the seven spot, sitting at 8-0 with as many ranked wins as Clemson. I get it. But the teams that are above them in Alabama and Michigan, Alabama with only one loss to the number 1 team in the country. Michigan playing really, really solid football. It's Clemson undefeated, and you can't argue the top 3. So it's a bit of semantics at this point. I'm not attaching as much weight to these rankings as I think some people are. I think that is just the nature of the beast. When you're a smaller market team, we know that this has been admitted. The college football playoffs are not only about the best teams, but they're about what's going to bring the best ratings. Clemson has a gigantic market, so I understand them being in the top 4. I said this on an appearance on VSiN last week, that I believe that Clemson will lose a game by the end of the season and take care of this problem on their own. TCU's got to just do what TCU needs to do to stay in the picture. And that is continue to win football games. So I can tell you right now, they are not in the locker room being like, oh, we should be ranked higher. This is, if anything, going to give them an edge and say, we still need to show up. We need to be undefeated, and we need to beat these ranked teams handily. And if we don't do that, then we're going to be on the outside looking in. So I have less of a problem with the rankings than I think a lot of people do. The top 3, again, are absolutely no argument. And then moving on from there, it's kind of a crapshoot. I guess the only argument you could make is that Alabama should be in the 7 there. But you lose to Tennessee and you're Alabama, you're going to get favored. It's simple as that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, so there you have it. Devin and I weighing in on the topics of the day.
That's right.
The Washington football team all of a sudden for sale. I would like to see P. Diddy buy the Washington football team. How cool would that be, Devin? P. Diddy. That's who I would put my vote behind. But you know what else we hear? That I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast last week, and they talked about how Barack Obama is apparently part of an ownership team that's involved to buy the Phoenix Suns. There's a bit of a connection there. Washington, D.C., Barack Obama. Could you imagine? There'd be a very, if they want to go with one radical side to another, you go from Daniel Snyder as the face of the team to Barack Obama, potentially. You heard it here first.
That is about as far as the spectrum stretches. So it would be a big change there. I think we'll get some billionaire we've never heard of, to be honest. That's typically how that works.
And they got to change the name back to the football team. The Commanders, what is this, the XFL? Like, you know what I mean? The football, that was like the one thing that team had going for them. You know what I mean? The Washington football team. I like that. It's unique, right? It's a bit silly, and that's kind of what I liked about it, you know?
It is unique.
Football team. Let's bring them back, Barack Obama. Okay, if you guys like what we do here at Vegas Insider, you are going to want to check out the brand new Vegas Insider app. We've got up-to-date, easy-to-navigate odds for every major sport. We have all our latest shows, best bet videos, and podcasts, props, trends, futures, news, all on the Vegas Insider app. Download the Vegas Insider app right now on Apple and Android. Bet better with the Vegas Insider app. Yeah!
That's right. Bet better. You know?
Indeed. Okay, Devin. You know who has been betting great is the CTP crew. These guys are giving us a lot of winners. We have some regulars developing here at Chasing That Paper. Hey, and if you guys are going to give us winners, we will happily put you back on. Jason Jantz gave us this game the other day. He's going back at it. I think this total has dropped a bit since he submitted, but we're taking a look. He's taking the under for Clippers Rockets, running this one back from 2 nights ago when this matchup went under by 33 points. This total is only 1.5 less. Both teams stink offensively with team point per game rankings in the bottom 5. Head-to-head under in 3 straight. Clippers under in 4 or 5. Rockets in 3 of 5. And how about Kawhi Leonard? He's out again already. What a disaster that is for the Clippers. What do we have next year, Tito? Indeed, Sean Mitchelson. Now, this is about, I talked about random props and weirdo props. This is about as random as it gets. He's taking Tage Thompson over 3.5. Hey, we love them. If you dig deep, you're going to find some good spots. This very well might be one. He's taking Thompson over 3.5 shots, minus 130. Shots on goal prop in hockey. I love it. He can't stop shooting the puck. He has gone over this number in 4 straight, 9, 8, and 8. In his last 3, Penn's giving up 35.7 shots per game. They blew a 3-goal lead and gave up 40 shots in an epic collapse last night. I know. I was watching that game, Penguins and Bruins. That was hard, man. Seems like a great spot. Yeah, check out Sean. That looks like a great opportunity. What are we looking at next, Tito? Schreckengost, my fellow Penguins fan. He was on the Penguins yesterday. Bad beat for him. We're going to give him another shot here. He likes the under 6.5 for Philly Toronto. Toronto ranked 27th, while Philly is 30th in high danger chances allowed per 60 minutes. Samsonov in matchups against the Flyers, 6-1 to the over. 6.5 in his last 7. Sandstrom, the expected goalie for Philly, as Hart did start last night. Hart has been covering up this awful Philly defense that's ranked 31st in expected goals allowed. Yeah, I mean, the Philadelphia sports scene flying high, but not if you're a Flyers fan. They absolutely stink. One of the worst teams in hockey right now, especially defensively. And I think we got one more here, Tito. Yes, our guy Obi knows. He's been hitting a few of them. So I think what Obi does here, I think he takes alt props and he parlays them together. So this is a good lesson to dig around at your sports book and see what you can find. So Obi has a spot here and a couple of big names in the NBA. Giannis over 25.5 points and Luka over 7.5 rebounds. So Giannis has hit this number in his last 5 games since 2019. He scored 25 plus in 10 of 11 versus Detroit. Yeah, he kills them. He's never scored less than 25 against them at home. Luka, talk about a guy who's filling up the stat sheet, averaging 9.5 rebounds per game, which is his highest in his career. Has hit 8+ rebounds in 4 of 6 games in 2022. Last in opponent rebounds. So there we have it. Check out Luka this season, Devin, before we wrap up here.
Ridiculous.
Take a look at his player prop. Sometimes they overreact to the player prop. Sometimes they get it right. Sometimes they underreact. Luka is averaging 36.7 points per game. 9.5 rebounds, 8.7 assists, 44 last time out. He hasn't scored fewer than 31 in a game this season. Now, I think they said his over-under points.
Compete with marketing. You know, he's got to compete with that market in points rebounds total. So he better pound the glass. I like that play.
Absolutely. And I had circled Luka, like, to take a look at his player props. Is at 33.5 for his point total and 50.5 for his points, rebounds, and assists. I've been burned so many times by a game being a blowout in the NBA where the guy doesn't come back onto the court that I try to stay away from those high numbers from time to time, especially in a game that might not be very competitive. Okay, Devin, we're about to send you on your way, but not before we discuss, which I keep on almost forgetting, and producer Tito becomes very angry with me, the Handicapper Heat Check.
Let's go.
Check it out. It's time for today's Handicapper Heat Check, presented by VegasInsider.com, your home for the best expert picks in the business since 1997. Today, we recognize AAA Sports, who can be found on Twitter at AAA Sports Plays.
Wow.
AAA Sports is scorching the diamond. He's 12-1 in his last 13. Also 5-1 in their last 6 NFL picks. Save $10 on AAA Sports World Series Game 4 top play on Thursday night and on Thursday Night Football's best bet by clicking on the link in the description below. The discount will be applied during checkout. That's your Handicapper Heat Check. Stay hot, bettors. Woo! So, Devin, busy week for you. What can we look forward to from you here at Vegas Insider and elsewhere?
Well, it's Wednesday, which means it's a big day for me. I'm going to go play 18, probably shoot about 114, and then I will be getting prepared for a new episode of The Challenge, Ride or Dies, tonight on MTV,
Yes.
followed by another episode of Bet on Devon with my beautiful guest, Nerys. Big episode for Nerys. Also, a sneaky good sports bettor. So you're going to want to check that one out. That is the Bet on Devon pod. You can catch it on all the Vegas Insider podcast feeds as well as on YouTube. So I'll have some NFL picks. Nerys is going to throw a parlay in there. We're going to talk about the episode. It should be a good time.
Yes, sir. Nerys. Okay, there you have it from Devin. Guys, make sure you're following Vegas Insider on Twitter. If you're watching on YouTube right now, make sure you give us a like and a sub, and make sure you check back in with Chasing That Paper again tomorrow. Week 9 NFL kicks off Thursday Night Football. Ian McMillan, who's been red hot on the show, he'll be right back with me. So we will see you then. Good luck with your bets tonight, unless you are fading us. And as always, keep chasing that paper. Ah!